Hey there! Welcome back to Reddit Dating, best channel for cheating stories. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more spicy stories.
Cheat on me, enjoy your new life. My pals and I sometimes hang out with a man we'll name Mark. Mark is now in his 40s, happily married to a lady, and the couple has 2 teenagers. I'll relate this tale as accurately as I can based on what Mark told us. As you are all aware, married life may be monotonous at times due to 9-to-5 jobs, prosaic living in a small hamlet, and the fact that your children are growing up and you no longer have to care after them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you try your best to spice up your life. You acquire a dog, start a hobby, and so on. At least, that's what Mark assumed. He likewise believed that his idyllic little existence would remain indefinitely. Wrong. Mark learned via the grapevine that while he was playing sports, working, and attempting to break the monotony of their lives, his wife, let's call her Mandy, was pursuing her own interests. Hobbies included becoming hot and passionate with another guy from a nearby town. He didn't mind the rumors at first since, after all, they were just that, rumors. But something about Mandy's demeanor began to shift. She stopped laughing with Mark, she became distant, she stopped chatting, she began shouting, she became irritated, and so on. It lasted a few months. This bothered Mark, and when we finished playing soccer, he asked us what we should do. We came up with numerous suggestions, including confronting her. Mark, on the other hand, didn't want to wreck his marriage over a few mood swings and a rumor. So he did what any rational guy would do, /s. He installed cameras around the home. And I'm talking PI caliber here. He had cameras in the bathroom, living room, their bedroom, and pretty much everywhere else except his children's room. He gave us an update on his new pastime and setup, and things calmed down for a few weeks. We went out for a couple drinks after a few weeks of soccer practice. We saw Mark wasn't himself, so we questioned as to what was wrong. He informed us that after many nights of resurrecting tape, he discovered that Mandy was definitely cheating on him. He was enraged. They had been married for almost 20 years, they were high school sweethearts with 2 sons, and she had betrayed him. Now comes the vengeance. He didn't approach her immediately away. Mark devised a strategy. He had no trouble gaining the guy's phone number despite living just a few towns away. You've all heard of those annoying advertising businesses who phone you to persuade you to purchase their stuff, right? Mark claimed to be one and told the man with the pretense that he was selling him body cleaning tablets and other things. He was well aware that the man was overweight, and as a skilled orator, he had no trouble persuading him. He obtained the guy's first and last name, which he already knew, address, SSN, work address, and some other information that isn't important to the narrative. He informed the man that he was in a poll for several awards from the firm for which he worked, and that he would contact him if the man won anything. Part 2 followed shortly after. On a Friday, while Mandy was at work, he put everything she had, including clothing, jewelry, collectibles, and other items, into their family vehicle. They had a VW Touran, so everything she had fit well. He informed Mandy they were going on a vacation when she got home from work. She was first opposed, but the slick talking quickly persuaded her to give up and get in the van with him. Before that, he drove the boys to one of our friends' home, they weren't yet 18, and he is a decent parent, and dropped them there. You may be wondering where they went. Remember how he referred to the man with whom Mandy was having an affair? I believe you already know the answer. Mandy had no idea, which was either unfortunate or amusing. He drove her and her stuff to the guy's house and phoned him on the way to urge him to come outside. He said that he had won first place and was on his way to personally present it to him. Mandy was still in the dark, she assumed he was simply pranking one of his pals. I'm sure you've realized by now that she isn't the smartest person in the world. Imagine her and the guy's expressions as he pulled into the parking place at the guy's home. He got out of the vehicle, shook the guy's hand and said, "Here is your reward, sir, I suppose you know what it is." I went away after one final glimpse at Mandy's blanched face. He obtained custody of both children because he was better off than she was, and he also informed the court she was unfaithful, which was why he was divorcing her. All of this occurred last year, and as far as we know, The man was an A grade, and she dumped him shortly after a few beatings and visits to the ER/police station. Mark was able to get over her after some time and a lot of drink, but he and his sons are doing well. They were both old enough to recognize their mother was at fault, yet they still hardly spoke to her when they visit. She attempted to re-enter Mark's life on a few occasions, but he did the wise thing and urged her to go. After we went out for a few drinks after soccer, he told us this tale. I had to go to the toilet because I was laughing so hard envisioning the entire scenario that I wet myself. I hope you had as much fun reading this as we did. It's not an SSN, and we're not from the United States. Because so many people got caught up on it, it's a tax number, and I'm guessing he requested for it to seem more credible. Edit 2, corrected a few spelling mistakes. Many folks are reading a lot into every element of Mark's tale that I gave. For example, how he managed to fit all of her belongings into one automobile. Of course he couldn't, and maybe he hired some movers later. Consider the vehicle to be stocked with items for a vacation, or whatever floats your boat. As I previously said, I am writing this from memory, so certain details may not add up to your keen eyes. Be cautious. I also did not attend the custody hearing, but the kids live with him and see the mother every other weekend. I inquired how it was going, and they said it was fairly petty between her trying to earn their approval and convincing them she wasn't at blame. I believed them since they were 16 and 17 years old at the time. I suppose I should apologize for doing so. Finally, is this tale fabricated just because he obtained the rights to the children? I'm not sure how things are in the United States, but courts here, as far as I know, consider everything. They would rather give them to someone who is more able to care for them. This covers their salaries, where they live, and how they behave in court. Get off your high horse, America, since not all countries are female-centered and corrupt. Story number 2. The cheating wife devastated the family and the holiday season. Why does she expect me to accept her actions? My message was initially posted in the Surviving Infidelity subforum, but it was removed? Someone recommended that I repost this here. So I'm hoping I don't get blacklisted here. The comments has been quite beneficial to me. My wife, 37F, started a new job 4.5 months ago and acquired some new pals as well. They didn't appeal to me, 36M. They were all staunch feminists, professional victims, and SJWs. They are the kind of ladies that will scream at you for opening the door for them. Or not, if you're not going to open the door for them. You can't win in either case. I laughed it off at first, but in the past 2 months I've seen some troubling changes in my wife. We've been married for 11 years and have 2 children, 10F and 8M. It grew worse and worse. She'd accuse me of all sorts of rubbish, like I was born bad since males historically oppressed women. Say what? Whatever I did for her, things she would usually enjoy, became grounds to argue. Everything was gibberish. I tried to be patient, and these debates generally ended with me saying something like, "But I haven't done anything wrong to you. Isn't the only thing I'm guilty of loving you?" It was typically enough to make her mumble. The following day, she'd do the same thing again, but with slightly different reasoning. Then, around 5 weeks ago, I had a strong gut sensation that something was badly wrong. She returned late at night without informing me. I couldn't contact her phone, she was fairly inebriated, and she seemed aloof and chilly. The following day, she'd reject me and tell me I was being too controlling, that I was reading too much into things. This occurred a couple of more times. I attempted to spy on her phone but couldn't discover anything conclusive, although I thought she had erased many of her texts. I did come across a post with one of her new pals where they were talking about how she would approach me and ask for an open relationship. I understood right away what my instincts were telling me: she was cheating. My wife said in the thread that she will speak to me about it on what is currently the second Monday of December. My children are spending Christmas with their grandparents, and we were supposed to join them today. So, she attempts to initiate this subject over breakfast, as if it were a random whim. To inquire about my feelings for an open relationship. Fortunately, I was prepared and had already begun recording. I'd been reading a lot on Reddit, and I realized there was no way to save this. My best case scenario is to walk out of this with a shred of pride and self-esteem intact. It's all about protecting myself and the kids from now on. I didn't shout or holler, instead, I went straight into jaw-clenched questioning mode. She had been all up until this moment, but it quickly vanished when she saw the expression on my face. Myself, who is he? She, what exactly do you mean? Tries to seem naive, as if she doesn't understand. Me, if you want to talk to me, don't treat me like an idiot, and at the very least be honest. What is the purpose of this talk if you can't be honest? She, what exactly do you mean? Me, if you lie to me now, we won't be able to have the conversation you want about our relationship. It's evident that you're concealing something. So, who is this man you're talking about? She, no. Me, oh my, there's more than one. She, oh. Do not, I say. Just don't do it, lie. You've just completely shattered my faith in you. I can know you're deceiving me. Either you are truthful and we discuss this, or I divorce you. Our marriage is coming to an end right now, no fights, no discussions, no nothing. Just get a divorce. Do you get it? But, she says. Me, speak out. Do you comprehend? If you lie, do you understand? I'm going to divorce you. Declare it. Do you realize how much I already know? I can read you like a book. If I find you lying, it's the end of us. Tell me you get it. She says, I understand. She then tells me about 2 one-night encounters she had while out with her pals. I inquire about their names, whether they are married, if she used protection, and so on. They're both married guys with children. Then she tells me she plans to sleep with a coworker, and that she will do so because it's healthy for her, and I don't have any right to restrict her. What the hell? I also inquire about the call log and get his name. His wife's surname. He is married, but according to her, he is in an open relationship, which is what she wants us to be. She goes on to say that she would match me up with several of her friends, one of whom seems to be quite interested. What exactly? I've seen this buddy and wouldn't touch her with a barge pole. I inform her that I am not interested. I ask for her phone, and she teaches me how to unlock it. I shut myself in my office while she went to the restroom. She flips out, and while she was beating on the door, I ran recovery software on the phone for deleted stuff, and 30 minutes later I had a lot of unpleasant proof. I also downloaded and installed a surveillance program from an internet business. I handed her the phone and instructed her to leave when I came out. She argued a lot, and I just responded with one-word comments. She didn't seem apologetic at all during this, instead shrieking at me that I was being controlling and holding her back, as males usually did with women. That I never loved her, that she had every right to do this, that she expected me to just accept it, that it wasn't such a big thing, and so on. I didn't fight back. In fact, I hardly said anything. I merely packed her belongings as she circled me, cursing at me. I eventually wound up at the front entrance, where I waited calmly until she ran out of steam. She eventually returned to her parents' residence, although unwillingly. I informed her on her way down the stairwell that she was single now, and that she could do anything she pleased since I wasn't controlling her anymore. My lawyer would contact me in January. I slammed and locked the door as she turned to answer. I subsequently saw her discussing it with her buddies. They were praising her how powerful she was for demanding what she was entitled to, and how she deserved more than I did. That it was all mere threats from my end, that I wouldn't follow through. Want to bet? What scared me the most was how they warned her that if she needed to, she could just accuse me of domestic violence. One of them described how she had cheated her ex-husband and stolen everything from him by accusing him of abuse. I've ordered cameras to be installed in my home since I've realized I need to capture everything. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. I'd never threatened her in any manner. Then she began contacting her AP to arrange a meeting. I was really taken aback when they agreed to meet in a hotel. I went online to look for the AP's wife. It didn't take long for me to get her to accept me as a Facebook friend, and I told her everything, including the continued activities at the hotel. She thanked me and hung up the phone. I received a video from her a few hours later. She went to face them at the motel. According to the screams, this was not the first time her spouse had cheated on her. You f***ing a hole. Do you want to do this to me again? To the children once again. I warned you we'd be over if you did it again. You hashtag is parent and. She stepped into the room and recorded my wife getting dressed on the side of the bed. The first time I saw it, I puked. The AP's wife struck her across the face and cursed her out. I texted my wife, informing her that I watched the footage from the hotel, and that I never wanted her to be around me again. It's as though she regards our contact as a kind of competition? Where, in her view, is she winning? Is she completely delusory? I don't comprehend anything. Is she disconnected from reality? As if she doesn't realize we're getting divorced? I joined my wife's family WhatsApp group and told them that we are separating because of her adultery. Before withdrawing from the group, I thanked them for making me feel welcome and like part of the family. I've had a couple calls and texts from her, but I haven't read or reacted to them. I just don't have the energy. I contacted my parents and told them everything that had happened. My father texted my wife, telling her she wasn't welcome for Christmas. I'm at my parents' house now, and I've spoken with my employer, who has agreed to give me time off until mid-January to work things out. I've been keeping an eye on my wife's increasingly frenzied conversations with her new friends. I don't believe it's hit my wife yet that she's lost her family, that her marriage is ended, and that her new friends and her AP don't give a damn about her. She sent me many messages and showed up at my parents' home, begging that she be allowed to enjoy Christmas with us. If she didn't go, my father threatened to call the cops. Now I'm browsing divorce attorneys and sobbing my heart out. I believe I was in shock, but the anguish has struck me hard since I arrived at my parents' place. I simply don't get it. It hurts me so badly to read their discussions and contact with her that I've only replied to her messages twice. I don't care what you say since I don't know who you are. You are not my wife. My wife would never smile while destroying my heart and soul. We're getting a divorce. I don't give a damn what you say or desire. You have no power or authority to demand anything from me in the future. We've finished. Me, as I already said, you are not my wife, and I am unfamiliar with you. My wife would never subject our children to the agony of growing up in a broken household. You, whomever you are, seem to be pleased with what you have accomplished. My wife was lovely, caring, and attentive. You are a self-obsessed, self-absorbed monstrosity. After the final message, the messages came to a halt. The anguish is excruciating at times. I wish this had never occurred, that I could reconnect with her like before, but I simply can't do that to myself. This is the worst Christmas ever. I couldn't help myself, but I told the kids that mommy no longer wants to be a family, that she wanted to be with other guys, and that we were going to divorce. They are understandably distressed. Fortunately, my parents are here to assist. They lavish them with love and attention, whilst I am a complete shambles. I'll attempt to get back on my feet for the sake of my children, but I'm never going back to her. I wish I had waited until after Christmas to get them right into therapy. I'm not sure what occurred, but I simply blurted it out when they inquired when their mother would arrive. If I went back to her, I would never be able to face myself in the mirror, because the amount of contempt and callousness in her actions is intolerable. I'm at a loss. I simply don't understand it. Why does she think she can demand anything from me at this point? Is she sick or what? Sorry for the rambling tirade, I just wanted to get this off my chest. Edit, I found out that I am okay with the surveillance after speaking with a lawyer a buddy knows. The phone is mine, as is the subscription. My wife uses it, but I own it. And the subscription, so I'm okay. It is not against the law for me to monitor my own equipment.